On everybody, this is your man Jason Miles here with It's About Belief. And as always, we're going to be talking today with Steve Connelly, who's going to be sharing his insights on, you know, just life in general. But today he's going to speak specifically about the power of I am. Now, I didn't get a chance to ask him yet, what that means or what he means by that, but we're going to dig into that in this live. And by the way, I just want to mention, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe, follow this channel, hit that notification bell so that you can be notified when Steve releases new content, because believe me, it's life altering. It truly, truly is. All you have to do is listen, absorb, and adapt, in all honesty. But we're going to talk a lot about that for the first 30 minutes. As soon as this is over, we're going to be headed over to the podcast. So make sure you like and subscribe. And without further ado, I want to get going. Right? Here we go. That is just like an epic intro right there, right? It's an epic intro. Well, good morning, Steve. How are you today?
I am doing, listen carefully, I am doing fantastic. How
Well,
are you doing?
I am excited about this information. I have my pen, I've got my paper, and
Yes,
and
sir.
and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to take some notes. I'm going to ask you some questions because I'm at a loss in this with this particular topic. Right? This isn't something that I've been, privileged enough to hear you speak on. So, what does the powerful I am mean? What does that mean? First.
It is so important. And most people overlook it. They don't really think about what they're saying and what they're doing. But look, we're just a collection of our own stories that we tell ourselves. And that, and those stories that are in within us get projected out into the screen of space here in front of you. And that screen of space is what we call reality. Now, I don't know where that name came from, but it's not real and it's not anality. I don't know what anality is, but it's not real. That's the thing. It's just the stories and the collection of stories that we tell ourselves right here, every day. And it might be things like I'm really tired and I'm broke and I don't feel well and I am this and I am that. But whatever follows I am is your story of who you are.
I get it. So
And
it's kind of like the thing you speak into existence.
precisely.
Right? Like
It's a directive.
one of the
It's
things you taught me, Steve, about that is, you speak these certain things into existence, and it's the way you do it. Like it's one of the most prominent things that stood out for me is, people are like, "Oh, I don't like that. I can't stand that." They're saying the thing, they're speaking the thing into existence that they don't want, and stay instead of saying, I like it to be this way. I want it to be that way. I prefer it this way. They go right into the negative, and you get more of that. I don't like this, therefore I get more of it.
precisely, myself and a number of other people that talk about this, we're kind of the squeaky little voices off in the wilderness in the distance, up against this massive amount of media that says, you should really focus on this thing that you don't like and fix it. And that is not right. That's not the way the universe works. It's not at all.
Hmm.
The only thing you will achieve from that is getting more of it in your own personal existence. Now, I would normally, I don't know if this is apropos here, but it's kind of important. What is the basis for this idea and this information and the way the universe works is that we're all sovereign beings. Yes, that's not part of the title, but it's important to know that because we are sovereign in within ourselves, the things that go on out here in our screen of space, as I mentioned earlier, has no effect on us whatsoever.
Hmm.
It's just the reflection of who we are. So, what's the goal? What really is the goal? The goal is to have as much fun and to have as joyous of a life as we possibly can in abundance and health and relationships and all of that, right?
Hmm.
So, who cares what's going on out there? You got to care about what's going on right here. Hey, where do you live? Miles, where do you live?
I'm I'm gonna say that you live in the space between your ears.
Exactly. Yeah. Most people will say I live in Alabama, Atlanta. I live in, Colorado. No,
No.
you don't. You live here. Everything that happens only happens right here in your consciousness. Right. Remember, the stuff out there is just a reflection. A reflection of what? It's a reflection of your consciousness. It's not there. It's just a mirror, you
So
know.
so for a lot of folks, myself included, I mean, you spend a good bit of time with me, and sometimes we have this, or at least we think we have the positive mental attitude, and we're doing and saying the right thing, but more often than not, we find ourselves getting off that path in which we're not used to being on in the first place. But what? How does one stay put, stay grounded, knowing? I mean, we're all fallible. I get it, but how do you devote 99 or 95% of your mental time and energy focused on your power, focused on your actual desire? How do you do that without falling off the wagon for extensive periods of time?
That's a great question. And that is probably the age old question. How do you do that?
Mm.
Well, it's going to take some practice and awareness. I mean, you've got to be really on it and aware of what it is you're thinking and what you're doing. Now, there's a couple great and easy ways to know what you're thinking. All you have to do is look in the mirror.
Hmm.
How's your life going? What's going on? Is the abundance that you want flowing to you easily without effort? How about your health? How about your relationships? And any of those categories, or all of them combined, you can just pick and choose and see what it is you're thinking. So if things aren't working quite right, and they're not, they're never going to do that. They're never going to work quite right. This is planet Earth. We came here to experience the contrast. So the contrast is, hey, you put something out there, you want this, you do your best to say, this is what I want in a pure positive vibrational frequency that is exactly what you want. And then the universe sends it back with a mixture of stuff that you've been putting into your, as Abraham Hicks calls it, your vortex of creation. It just mixes it in with everything else and throws it back at you. And it's your job to sort it out, in terms of, hey, what just happened? What is it that just came back at me? And what is it that I like and what is it I don't like? Now, here's where the rubber meets the road. If you focus your attention on, wow, all this stuff, this whole smorgasbord of things came back as a reflection. What it is, and you hit it right on the head, the nail right on the head, Miles, when you said we got to focus on what it is we want. So you get all this stuff, and some of it's stuff you don't want, some of it's in the middle you don't really care about one or the other, and then there's stuff over here that you really do want. So it's simple. Focus on what you want. Don't go
Mm.
over there trying to fix the problems. That will not work. It will
Hmm.
not work. I can assure you it won't work.
You know,
Now, moving to the war on drugs, how's that
mhm.
going? Not too good.
Exactly. I mean, I think about that in business as well. I mean, you see a lot of people, business owners, CEOs, big companies. I should say, you know, the successful ones under normal circumstances, even though there's some level of focus on the fires, the problems that have to be taken care of, the biggest concern in business is moving forward. Moving forward. Okay, that's a problem. It needs to be dealt with, but we can't devote all of our energy or even half of our energy to that because it will impede our corporate growth. It will impede our in our on our profit margins that we're sharing with our investors, stockholders. So they really do devote very little time and energy on the problem. Everything is about moving forward. And
Right.
and I look at history and I look at some of these business case studies, just talking about it from a business. And I guess you could do that in a relationship standpoint as well. Like if you're always focused on what you don't want in a relationship, you literally create that for yourself. Like nobody wants to be cheated on, but if you're focused on being cheated on, that energy is going to rub off on your significant other, and they're going to get tired of it, and not necessarily cheat on you, but be done with you because of your certain levels of insecurities or whatever one might call it. I mean, that's how I'm interpreting what you're saying.
Precisely. Yeah. I mean, as you're talking about that, I know a specific person that's a client of mine that she continuously uh, attracts men that are already married or already in relationships. So that's not what she wants, but this is what her dad did. And so I met with her, a week or so ago, and I said, and she said, "Oh, I just broke up with so and so." And I said, "Well, it's about time, you recognize that he already had another girlfriend or is married or something." I already knew it because of some clues that came around, but it's not always my job to point that out.
Hmm.
And she said, "You already knew that." I said, "Yeah, this happened over there and that happened over there. It's pretty obvious." And I said, "Look, your vibrational frequency is such that you have to focus on what you want." And it's all about her father and what he did. And I said, "You got to forgive your father and all that stuff that happened in your past. If just forgive it and forget it and focus on what it is you want, you know?" And so, yes, it's got to be that. Now, the other thing that I was thinking about when you were talking was it has to be effortless. Whatever it is we're doing is effortless. There should not be any effort in any of this. Why? Because it's all mind. It's all between the ears. It's an inside job. Totally an inside job. When one can get a visual image of what you want in pure positive vibrational frequency output, then what happens is the universe will all automatically align that frequency with a similar or exact frequency
Hmm.
that you're putting out. And bam, it shows up. Now, I'm going to give you an example. I recognize that I have certain channels that come to me that are kind of my channels of least resistance, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
So my wife is one of them. So she brings stuff. And so the other day, well, no, probably 2 weeks ago, I was looking in my closet and I've got these white t-shirts. No big deal, but a lot of them are too short. I put on a little weight, so they shrunk, quote unquote. So so I said, "Well, you know what? I need some more white T-shirts that are large or a little longer." Okay, that was it.
Hmm.
That's what I did.
Hmm.
Guess what I got yesterday? So she brings home this package of white T-shirts, brand new, large, in the package. And she said, "Hey, I got this from one of my clients. It's moving, or I'm down, something. I don't know. I don't really pay that much attention." And I looked at it and I said, "Yeah, I need some white T-shirts like that." And then afterwards, I remembered, "Oh yeah, I asked for those. I
Mm.
forgot." It's totally effortless. And guess what? It's just frequency. So whether it's a T-shirt, or it's a house, or a car, or a locomotive, or an airplane, or a jet, or a relationship, or money, it doesn't matter. What matters is, can we send out the frequency that is pure enough, and without the resistance and without the thinking that goes along with most of our requests, which is doubt, disbelief, thinking we have to put a lot of energy into it, thinking we have to do this process to get there. There is no process. Why? Because there's no time in the universe. The universe is all right now.
So let me
Period.
ask you this. Let me ask you
Time is
this.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Wait a minute.
basically,
Part. Let me say this. Time is part of the illusion.
hmm,
It's not real. It's all now. Einstein said, and I quote this almost every time we have a podcast. Einstein said time was created to make it look like things weren't all happening at once, when in fact they are. So
all
go
things
ahead.
happen all at once simultaneously.
Precisely. They happened. They've already happened. It's here now. Period.
Yeah. So if I'm understanding right, this is the frequency that one may want to attain is all based in the sounds we utter from within. So the powerful I am is the I am statement, a verbal statement, which of course creates that frequency that resonates out into the universe from now until whenever, right? The ripples just get bigger as they get further away, but it's the power comes from speaking into existence what you want and consistently, and then believing that it's going to be, instead of
Yes.
fighting tooth and nail to get there, which, and I think most people could understand or relate. No matter what level of success you achieve, it always feels like you're only halfway up the mountain.
Yes. And now
I mean,
let's
that's for the people that are, not focused on,
yeah. Well, you
these are,
said speak it. Now
yeah,
let's define speak it.
please do.
Speak it is either we're talking about it or we're thinking about it.
Hmm.
It does not matter if you say it out loud. Did I, when I was in my closet, say out loud that I needed these T-shirts? No, I didn't say a word. Did I ask my wife to go keep her eye out for T-shirts? No, not necessary. I sent the request to the universe. Now, I love these myths that we see showing up. And of course, my favorite one is the Aladdin's lamp. That is not a myth. That is the way it works. There's only one big difference.
What's
Is
that?
there's a couple of distinctions we can talk about, like the genie. The genie is the universe. It is creation. It is Christ. It is your subconscious. It is all that is. It's everything. The Christ consciousness is the vibrational frequency which brings matter to visual range, frequency range, period.
Hmm.
So that's all. It's just the different frequencies and the levels. If you want to talk about heaven and hell and just good life, bad life, it's just a series of frequencies that are laid on top of each other. It's not over there. It's
Right.
not up there. It's not down there. It's here. It's here right now, just like everything else is. It's here within us. You know, find heaven within yourself. Find hell within yourself. It's all here right now within you.
Gotcha.
So, and then you said something else. Remind me.
Well, I was just talking about how, you know,
Effort.
yeah, the effort that goes into it. But I I know you know, and I know some people that are pretty successful outwardly, right? Financially, they've got some achievements, but for
Yeah.
them, I mean, it's not even a matter. I think for most of them, there's something inside that they're trying to run away from, not run towards. And that's why they're always halfway up the mountain. No matter what they have, they could have $1 billion. It won't be enough because it's not fulfilling whatever that void is. It's just not going to be enough. And they're never going to achieve it. They're always going to be wanting more, working for more. And that has become the norm in the society that we live in, specifically in the West. And to me, that seems kind of destructive. It doesn't appear, you just get more stuff, which gives you more responsibility, which requires you to get more stuff that gives you more responsibility. You know, and then you're saddled with the stuff, all because whatever the actual underlying issue is has never even been addressed. Look,
Exactly.
you know,
What is it we're looking for? We're looking
right.
for peace. We're looking for peace, freedom, creativity, and fulfillment. Now, can we find those? Do we need to be searching for them?
I don't
What's the
think
way
so.
to find all of that?
I think it's all within. You can't, it's like any
Live
relationship.
within. Where do you live?
Yeah,
Here, right here.
that's right. It's
So
all within.
here's the. I'm going to give you the most valuable lesson you've ever had, other than stating the I am, which is obvious. You know, that's your story. How do you find whatever it is you're looking for? Well, you stop looking for
Hmm.
it. What? You stop looking for it? How do you find it if you're looking for it? Well, you set your frequency tone till you already have it. And then the universe just gives it to you. See, those people that are successful think they struggled their way to success.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what happened. They think that because that's what other people have told them, that's what it felt like. But what happened was they just struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled. And finally they said, oh, the hell with it,
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
just stopped
You
for a
know,
minute.
Steve, I went to school with a guy. Well, I met him in my freshman year of college, and his guy just didn't have any worries at all. And it appeared that he was literally floating through life. I mean, everything just came to him, and he worried about nothing. I remember times where we were sharing pizza, you know, because starving kids, right? Starving college kids. But it never bothered him at all. Like it never bothered him. And he was like, it's not going to be like this forever. Everything will work out, you know. And it was like that with everything. It didn't mean that he didn't do good in class, but he wasn't an overachiever, but he overachieved.
Sure.
And he was happy the whole way through. I mean, even to this day. I mean, even to this day, when I don't speak with him, as maybe I get to speak with him every couple of years. But you know, social media, we follow each other. And right now, he's been traveling the world for the past, I don't know, 6 or 7 years that I can think of. Uh, he got married later in life. Right around that time, started having well, a little bit before that, maybe 10 years ago, and found a level of enjoyment where money just isn't that important to him, although he lives a lifestyle and you'd think that he was enormously wealthy because he's all he does is travel the globe, you know.
So in the first book I wrote, which is on Amazon, 50 Belief Ideas,
Hmm.
on the back cover, it says, in this book, you will learn how to be happy for the rest of your life.
Mm.
Now, is that worth $10? you know.
I'd have to say yes.
Yeah, no kidding. And but I'm gonna give that to you now because there's another 49 belief ideas that are in that book that are just as powerful if you look at them and understand what it is. And that's unfortunately a lot of people hear what these things are, and they've been so programmed into believing that they have to work hard and that life's a struggle and all this stuff. They don't call them TV programs for
Mm-hmm.
nothing. Somebody out
Mm-hmm.
there is writing this crap and pumping it into our society and programming a fear and weakness into each individual who is a sovereign individual. The founding fathers knew this when they wrote the Constitution. It doesn't say the group that we call America or whatever they call it, the colonies, as a group. It said, no, the individual is entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It didn't say anything about finding happiness, but we're all allowed to go look for it.
Well, Steve, I gotta,
Yeah.
I gotta, I gotta butt in here because I want to make sure that we keep our time right. Because we've got part two of this, and I just want to remind everybody, part two of this is the podcast where we're going to go a little bit more in depth and speak about the powerful I am, but as Steve says it, from a pure positive faith, because I am won't work without that. I'm assuming, right?
It's it kind of will, depending on how much negative frequency you put it out there to match the positive, because that's usually what happens. Is somebody says, "I want this," but I doubt it. Bam, nothing's going to happen. Is going back to that double-minded man shall receive nothing.
Mm.
You know, nothing, because there's no pure frequency. You can be pure negative or you can be pure positive, and you'll get it. So, yes,
I like that, and that's biblical. The double-minded man, right?
yes, it is. The Bible is probably the best spiritual book on the planet, but if you've got to read it in the right method and understanding, it's not what it says; it's what it means. What is it communicating to the masses of people who don't understand frequency and vibration and energy and consciousness?
Hmm.
They only see the physicality, and that's how they live their lives. It's You're destined to trip over and stub your toe, many times, as I
Indeed,
have.
indeed. Now, Steve, for the viewers and listeners, well, viewers in this particular case that are watching that may not be able to right now, get over to the podcast right away. What are